Hello there, Taurus. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth video forecast. This forecast is for the month of March. The first segment is going to be March the 1st through the 14th. After that, we'll do the 15th through the 28th. Those of you who are here to watch to find out more about that Taurus person that you care about, you are certainly welcome to be here. What you need to know about this channel is that energies are not reversible on this channel. So what you're seeing is about and for the Taurus. If you want to see a video that talks about and tells you things for you, then you want to check out your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, or any combination thereof. Okay, Taurus. Your cards are down, my dears. Let's see what comes up for you. The first thing that we are looking at during this time frame has to do with your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most people it'll be home, but for other people it could be work, school, etc. So what do we have showing up here? Looks to me, Taurus, like you may be taking a very independent sense of responsibility over your environment at this point. And I feel like there are some things about your environment that are not as conducive to feeling secure as you would like. And I think that you've sort of come to a point of acceptance with this. It seems to me like there's something about this environment that is not secure, or it does not come across as secure as it should be or could be. And so you're kind of accepting that this is just the way it is. And I almost have this sense of you're being a little bit of an adventurer and sort of going out on a limb here, being a risk taker and expecting that whatever happens, you're going to go with the flow and figure out, solutions along the way. What else do we need to know about this for Taurus? I think that's everything that we're going to say right there for a general reading. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings as we go through this particular time frame, Taurus. So this is really interesting. It looks like there's a couple of people on your mind, Taurus. Both of these, for most of you, are going to be males, although for a few of you, one or both of these could be more assertive females. For me, it's not so much about the biology whenever I'm looking at the cards as much as it's about the personality. I'm going to change what I'm saying here. For some of you, yes, I think you're dealing with a couple of people in your sphere of influence who are not taking care of their responsibilities very well. And I think your subconscious is working on how do I deal with this situation in a positive way. But for others of you, I feel like you're considering dropping some responsibilities to do something that has to do with a business or something that is logical, that makes sense to you. And I think you're really excited about this idea of doing this thing that's logical or makes sense to you. And because you're so excited about moving forward with it, I think you're considering in your subconscious mind dropping the responsibilities that you have right now. Let's see what else shows up about that. And that's subconscious mind. So When it's subconscious, it may not actually be happening tangibly yet. It could be just something we're thinking about, brainstorming about, kind of planning about at a deeper level. Right now, I want to look at learning style and also communication style during this time frame. I do feel like you are learning about creating an abundance or creating the resources that you need to have to do whatever plans that you have at the moment. And it looks to me like as you're creating those, I think you're recognizing the idea that there's a little bit of time involved in creating these things. And I think you're also, I feel like you guys are picking the brains of multiple people to get information. It's almost like you're cheating to learn. You're finding out information from people who already know the ropes as we go through this particular time frame. Now, communication style, I do think that you're doing a lot of communication about a lot of different moving parts that you're trying to put in place as we go through this particular time frame. I do think you're also communicating with the divine, talking to God, talking to the universe, the creator, whatever word you want to put, Allah, whatever word you want to put on that. I do feel like you're spending a lot of time actually communicating with the divine about what your hopes and dreams are and what you can expect from them as far as help. And I also feel like you could be spending a lot of time actually just building up your network or refortifying your network as well. So very consciously working on bringing that safety net, making that safety net a more active, reliable part of your life. Now, next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about work specifically. What do we have? What do we have? Okay, so it looks to me like you may be juggling a couple of things. You may have something on the side, or you may have a particular job, or maybe you have multiple jobs, but it does look to me like you are really doing something that makes you feel creative and like you really get to express yourself the way that you want to in one of these jobs. And in another job, I feel like it's very much tedious, ho-hum. Somebody else makes all the rules. All you're doing is just, filling the space there. So I think you've got two types of situations going on as far as work, and you're keeping a balance between both of those, at least for now. Next thing that we have showing up does talk to me about that part of your personality, which is growing or expanding right now. Excuse me just a moment. Okay, so we're looking at that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now. And it looks to me, Taurus, like you are in a position where you are making some decisions about making some part of you stronger, whether that's making your finances stronger, whether that's making your education stronger, but you are making yourself stronger in your manifestation in the physical world. And I think that once you've made this decision to do this, I think you're actually enjoying that process as well. I like it. So next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those things that you stand for during this particular time frame. And when I say those things that you stand for, this is something that somebody has asked you to explain, or they've confronted you about, and so you've had to explain this or stand up for this. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. And so we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about how this person who confronted you, how they feel about you after, and the situation after you've had this conversation. So, the thing that you stand for. So it looks like, I think that, Taurus, what's going on here is that you have a friend who had a goal that they reached, they accomplished, whether this is graduating, whether this is getting a new house, whatever their goal or target was, they've accomplished their goal or target after a period of where they sort of had to put this on the back burner for a while, and then they had to come back to it to actually accomplish it. And so this is somebody that you're standing up for, or you're defending. And how the other person feels after you've had this conversation they still really don't understand. they don't understand your friend who went through this. They don't understand that. And not only do they not understand that, they just don't see why that person put in the energy and the effort to do this. In their minds, that could not have been very satisfying. And in their minds, it just really doesn't make sense. They're just not on the same page as your friend at all that you've been defending or standing up for. All right, now let's look next at your flex period. So Taurus, this is where things start to change up a little bit. You have something happen that changes your perspective, which changes your trajectory that you're going on in life. So let's see what's happening. What is this trajectory changing thing that happens? It looks like you're coming into some kind of contract or agreement with somebody who may be pretty resentful for you, and they may be keeping some information from you even as you're coming into this contract or making this agreement with them. I feel like they're not being completely honest with you. At the same time that this is going on, I do see you really stressing out over a situation that has come to a close, even as you're healing from it. I do think you're healing from it. I think part of the healing is the idea of getting beyond some of the stress, or at least finding relief for some of the stress, if not getting totally beyond it at this point. And then also going on at the same time, there is a little bit of this sense of feeling sorry for yourself during this time, because there was some type of partnership that just really did not work out. And I think that as you're letting that go, as you're healing from this situation, I think that, part of that healing is recognizing that, hey, it just wasn't working to begin with. All right, and then where do we see you at the end of this time frame? Right around Valentine's Day or a little bit before. I feel like you've got somebody coming at you that's just blowing smoke. They're just saying whatever is coming out of their mouth, and it happens to be handy, not necessarily the truth, and in fact probably not the truth. And I feel like you see them from a mile away. You know that they're not being truthful or honest, and I think that you are definitely keeping your distance from this person. You're putting up some type of boundaries so that you only have to speak to them as much as is absolutely necessary and no more. So that's where we see you at the end of this time frame. I hope that makes sense for you, Taurus. I'm sure if it doesn't now, it will later. And I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, we'll go ahead and look at the end of March. See you soon. Welcome back, Taurus. This time we're going to be looking at March the 15th through the 31st. Let's see what we have coming up for y'all. While I'm putting down the cards, let me just say thank you to those of you who are putting thumbs ups on this video. Thank you also to those of you who are sharing this video around to others. You may find benefit from it as well. And thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions from me via my website, which of course is in the description box below. It's because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much. Cards are down. Let's take a peek at your environment for March 15th through the 31st. What do we have coming up here? I think there's definitely something frustrating going on in your environment. There's something that is not making you very happy. It has to do with this idea of working together with other people, that there's not much teamwork happening whenever it comes to your environment. And I think this has you feeling really stumped, and it has you in a situation where you feel like you're sort of dependent on other people around you or in your environment for you to be able to do well. Let's look at your subconscious leanings during this time frame. I really think you've got some things going on with your family whenever we look at your subconscious leanings. There's something to do with family or tribe or home life. I feel like you're at a point where you're kind of thinking about, oh, I just want to run away. I don't even want to deal with these things that are going on right now. And it looks like part of what's going on is you're interacting with somebody who can be really moody. Um, they can be very sarcastic. They can be very cutting. They can just make you feel very small with their words. And so I think it's because you're interacting with this person, and I feel like you're catching a lot of energy from this person that it's just really not fair for you to be receiving. I'm almost getting the sense that this person has a long list of things that you have not done right. And heaven knows, of course, they're perfect angels. They've done everything exactly right all the way along. And I think that this is just kind of wearing you down. I think that that this is not reasonable or right, some of the things that this person is saying. But I think that your home just doesn't feel like home anymore with all of this. It just feels like it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel necessarily safe, especially emotionally. It just doesn't feel like an emotionally safe space. I don't feel like there's a lot of affection or encouragement or being lifted up here. And so it looks to me like you're really kind of thinking about, okay, where could I go instead of home? You may be doing a lot of hours at work. You may be spending a lot of time in other places, bars, friend's house, hiking, whatever. You may be avoiding being at home because of this person that's there and the way they're talking to you. Okay, and this is all in your subconscious mind. But I think that some of this is manifesting in this avoidance of this person actually as well. Normally, I don't say that. Normally, I say it's in your subconscious. It's probably not actually happening. You're just thinking about it. This has that energy of, yes, it's in my subconscious, but also I'm trying to stay away from this situation. Like, I don't need to be spending extra time in a situation where I feel like I'm being made to feel like I'm a piece of crud. Okay, so let's move on, shall we, Taurus? What we have showing up here next talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. I do think that you are learning a lot of things. I think there's a lot of truth that's being just shown to you. Maybe Spirit is opening your eyes to it, or maybe things are happening around you that just the truth is becoming apparent. I don't feel like you're even having to dig for this. I think it's just coming to the surface. It is becoming apparent. I think you're also starting to understand about a lot of untapped potential in your life, a lot of things that you could be doing that could make things better than what they are if you weren't feeling so restricted right now. And I think you're learning about finding stability, finding your own foundation, irrespective of what other people do, say, or think. Okay? Now, as far as communication style, I think there's somebody that you're talking to about some of these truths that are just coming up in front of your face. I think you've got a couple of good friends that you're talking about these things too. And I do see, in general, I see a lot of communication going on, and I think that a lot of this communication is very productive communication. In other words, there are good ideas or there are good things coming out of this communication. And I also feel like there's some kind of communication that you're having with somebody in your sphere of influence that is allowing you to see your own self-worth and to see yourself how the universe sees you, to see your real, true, excellent, and wonderful value as a person, as a human in the big sphere of things. The big realm of things, maybe is a better word. All right, so the next thing that I'm looking at here, Taurus, has to do with your work. Something definitely is up at work. There's a whole lot of indecision showing up here. There's confusion that's happening. Part of the confusion that's happening is because people aren't getting the full picture that you would think would have the full picture, and so that's causing a lot of confusion. there seems to be a breakdown of communication at work as well. So it may be that it's really hard to get information, and I mean just basic information that you would need to do your job at work as well. It's looking pretty rough. Pretty rough. Remember the law of rhythm. If it looks rough now, it'll look that good later. What are we looking at? That part of your life where you're being grown or expanded right now, or at least that part of your personality. I feel like there is somebody that you care about greatly. This can be a family member, romantic partner, friend, but there's somebody that you care about greatly. And I think that there's been some distance between you and this other person. I think that you're deciding to shorten that distance, and you're deciding to reach out to that other person and just get some kind of answer, some kind of completion. I think for some of you, you're going to be reaching out just because you want closure in a situation with somebody that you care about. But for others of you, I feel like you're going to be reaching out to see, okay, is this a point to get closure, or is this a point that we decide to move forward? And so for some of you, I think you're going to be ending up deciding with this other person to move forward. And, for some of you, I think you're going to be just getting a good, final, complete closure on a situation. All right, next thing that we have coming up does talk to me about those things that you stand for. So this is something that somebody has asked you about. You've either been asked to explain it, or you've been asked to defend it if somebody's confronted you about this situation. So let's see, what is this situation? So Taurus, it looks like you were working together or collaborating with somebody else on some type of project. And it looks to me like you've decided, you know what, it's not worth my time, energy, effort, finances, whatever. It's not worth it for me to be collaborating with this person. And you have brought that to an end. You're no longer collaborating with that person. Now, that doesn't mean that they might not be moving on with that project without you. They might be, but you're not in on that collaboration anymore. And that has been at your choosing, Taurus. So when somebody asks you about this, how they feel later on is they feel like you're a little bit confused here. They also feel like there was some kind of sense of people not appreciating you and what you were doing before. And you just saying, yeah, I might have been confused by this. I might have been stunned by the idea that other people weren't appreciating what I was doing. But kind of getting over that stunned, there's a little bit of that paralysis. There's a little bit of confusion whenever we're stunned like that. I see you getting over this. I think, I'm going to say this person sees you as getting over this idea of being stunned by that. And it looks to me like they see you as looking for the opportunities and not paying attention to the disappointments, and looking for other opportunities to move forward where you would be more appreciated. Okay, so that's what we see there. Next, we are looking at your flex point, Taurus. This is going to be where things change direction a little bit for you during this part of the month, or this half of the month, I should say. So what do we have going on? Your listener experience here, you're definitely dealing with some type of disappointment. It looks like things have not gone the way that you were hoping for them to or expecting them to. And the disappointment here really has to do with the idea that you're at a point where there's not a lot of healing coming in right now into this situation. So this could be talking about some of you, where we saw earlier, you were reaching out to somebody, to find out if, are we getting closure or are we moving forward? This could be finding out, this could be finding out either one and being disappointed. Kind of depends what your position or situation is, right? But this talks about, being disappointed that there's not a lot of healing coming in, and that, things are just not moving the way that you expected them to here. All right, so this is what actually changes your perspective during this time frame. What's going on at the same time? So it looks to me like you're already in rebuilding mode. You've already lost something that made you feel like you were less secure than what you had been, and so you're rebuilding. You're finding other opportunities that are actually better than what you had before to replace that thing that disappeared from before. And I think that, you're kind of throwing a fit. Spirit is saying you're throwing a royal hissy fit because you know how things should be going and you're not happy with how things should be going. And as a result of you throwing this royal hissy fit, as Spirit says, I think what's going on is there is going to be somebody that you're going to start working together with on some common goals moving forward. What else is going on at the same time? Once again, we've got this idea of disappointment showing up here again, but I think you're finding relief from this disappointment through talking, whether that is group counseling, whether that's talking to friends. The relief that you're getting is coming through talking through this situation. Alrighty, next let's look at where you are at the end of this particular month, Taurus. I do feel like there is some heartbreak here still going on. I feel like we're still missing somebody, and it seems to me like that's pretty intense once we get to the end of the month. And it looks to me like this not really being able to let go of that energy is sort of keeping you from moving on. It's sort of holding you in this stagnant place of in between being, the stagnant place of being in between. That's what I want to say about that. We're going to leave it right there. Okay, so that's what I see for you, Taurians. Thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate all of you. Everybody have a fantastic month. And if I don't see you here for a private reading or a private Reiki session between now and then I will see you back on the next video. Peace out.